Yep, there we go. Alright, I'm Brayden Goldade, from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada, and sport marketing major.
Cameron Lux from Eureka, South Dakota, communications major.
Lane Irvin from Huron, South Dakota, forensic science major.
Michael Hahn from Pierre, South Dakota. I'm a chemistry major now.
So how you guys' day been going?
Let's see, I started off the day by slept through persuasion class today. Sorry about that, Dr. Wax. Really didn't want to, just kind of overslept. Anyway, anyone else?
Yeah. I had my day off today, so only had my class for my chemistry IA.
We had to move a lady out of the house for baseball.
Good day, baseball practice.
Doris, she works at the disability office. Covered meetings. We had to move her houses.
Okay.
Spent $200 on pizza.
Oh, that's good. Got food.
That's
free food. That's all.
Got me the pizza for Gordon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I got you done. So I was like,
Yeah, that's for her.
Such a nice roommate giving me free pizza.
I was like, oh, free pizza.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay. So, one question. What do you think would happen if an agent took the red pill in the Matrix?
Didn't he technically kind of take the red pill because he's already in the Matrix?
No, the agent itself. Would the body he's taken possess of get sent out, or would the agent himself get sent out in the body of the person that took it?
Is the agent a human being or is it a computer?
It is a computer programming.
So the red pill won't affect it because it doesn't affect the neurons in in the body.
It's true.
And like this. So like disconnects the body from the mind thing.
Well, the body.
And then this computer program, like the neurons or like the electricity that describes creates him through the computer system. Maybe those would take over the brain, and he would come out as the person, or he would just have to be like erased from that body. Then the person that actually owns the body but leaves it for the body.
And then you see in the second movie, even though this is not related to the second movie at all, actually Agent Smith does come out into the real world by using the phone.
Yeah, but he does say that because in the first he talks with Morpheus without the headpiece. He doesn't want to be in there anymore. He wants out.
He wants to get rid of the smell of the world.
The world he's in. Doesn't like it.
So what does he know what it actually smells like? Because since his computer program, gives him that smell. So could whoever created it say agents can't smell? Or is he actually a sentinel that flies around and it's like?
Well, that's the thing.
Or is he a real person that's inside the Matrix playing as an agent?
Technically, he's a programming because he takes control of different people inside the Matrix.
Right.
So if you kill the agent, you kill the guy inside.
And the agent will just move to the next body.
Or you can jump from body to body to get around quicker, like he did when he was chasing Neil down at the end.
Yep. Jumps to that homeless dude's body.
And he shoots the phone.
Yep.
And then he'll jump to the person that lives in apartment 303.
And shoots him.
And just right as he opens the door, just bang bang.
Good idea.
He knew from 303 that was the room they started the movie in, with Trinity sitting at the computer. Sitting at the computer.
Yep. He remembered the building from before.
And then I think, since computer programming, is it his memory or the computer's memory?
Well,
because the other two agents that were chasing him never thought of it, did they?
I guess not.
Weren't they at the place with Trinity as well?
I don't think so. I think it was just Agent Smith.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be sharing consciousness.
Right.
But at the same time, is there someone who's controlling all the agents? I mean, there's got to be. Who made the agents?
That's the thing.
I think
Who created the computer programming system?
The set or the robots from before.
Just continue to evolve.
The humans created the computers that created the Matrix that took over the world. So technically, it could also go back to the fate of the humans.
So we made our own demise.
Oh yeah.
That's always philosophized.
Oh yeah.
The same in real life.
We destroy ourselves more than like you said. We are viruses.
Yeah. Of the world, when you think of it, we really are. We're the most infectious disease. If you want to consider ourselves a disease, because we spread, we reproduce more than any other thing. I mean,
even though we have a very slow reproduction process of aging, and then
so many of us.
Yeah. Like when we're still like growing, like or like evolving. Soon we are adapting to a place where we live so well that we survive for generations, and now since we live longer, and we just keep reproducing. And like my family, there's 5 kids in my family from 2 parents, so that pretty much increases the world by 3 more people. Like
So what's from there and then from there.
yeah,
My family's -1.
you're the only child. Yeah, so I mean that's good and bad at the same time. But then you have families like us who we kind of grew up on a
make up
farm.
for us.
Yeah, and like in Asia they have the two child rule, and then
I thought they had a 1-child rule in China.
It was at one point. I think it's back.
Well,
now it's unlimited.
Is that limited?
They took it off.
Well, didn't they have a thing where my roommate was talking about, Jordan was talking about it last night, how basically when that was in place, the second child basically didn't exist. They were never given a social security number or anything like that. They just don't exist.
No, it was a 2-child rule.
Well,
one for each parent.
okay, well, the
And
third
the
child then.
Yeah, the 3rd child was either killed, wasn't given a social security number, or sent to America. Because then they couldn't be killed or because they're not living in China anymore. That's why we had so many Chinese immigrants and stuff, that people trying to smuggle people out of the country. Because the parents wanted a boy to carry on the name or whatever.
Yeah.
And they get 1 girl, 2 girls. One of them would be killed, sold, or...
Speaking of the reproduction stuff, are they able to reproduce within the Matrix?
No.
Was that all computers or the humans?
Computers.
Well,
They can't technically reproduce, but within the computer system, are they able to?
do you think?
Maybe.
I guess what they could do is
Is there
pretty
like a
much.
computer program that allows the computer programs to reproduce, like the agents to reproduce each other?
I don't think the agents can reproduce, but the people they may give the idea of being reproduced, because they could, like, the computer could make them feel bigger, make them feel like their body's getting bigger after they got married, had sex or not. And then when a new baby's born in the actual world, like created, then maybe that could make it so it seems like the new baby coming into the world is their baby, and then it could make it seem like they're actually reproducing in the Matrix, and not just coming out
Kind of a perception rather than actually reproducing.
But then again, the system has been around for hundreds of years. According to Morpheus, it's 2199, 200 years.
Yeah.
In the peak of the society, and yet again, it never changed. Over 200 years, it's never changed.
because it still looked like it was in the 1990s. Like,
Yeah.
Compared to us, for 200 years, we developed space travel and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, if you think about it, in the Matrix, they stayed in that 1990 era.
How do they get people to realize that no time has gone by?
That's like what we were talking about when we were downstairs, the movie Inception. Like, what is their reality? Like, what is time? Like,
Because wasn't it like
yeah,
every time you went to a different dream, time got slower and slower?
yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's been
Or is it longer? I don't remember.
I think an hour in the first stream they go into is like 10 hours in the next stream. I think something like that. Or
Okay.
12 hours or
Or,
something.
like, I couldn't remember if it was shorter or longer as you went in. But then, because then they have to get out and step, and then remember at the end of the movie he spins that top, and then it just ends. And you don't know if it's the real world.
or what?
Yeah, because all the worlds collided. Or like
All the dreams collided. Yeah, they went too deep.
collapsed in on
See,
itself.
I feel like that could happen in the Matrix too, though, because, like, well, going like through the phone and everything like that. Like, are you changing time? Are you going back in time? Are you going forward in time? Or you're staying in the same place in time and just ending up somewhere else?
I thought of it that way.
There's also one thing I just thought of now is maybe all the babies, like, on that born thing, like, being reproducing, the Matrix, you know how they're farmed?
Yeah.
They're all farmed, like, all at the same time, pretty much. Like, they all turn one at the same time, or half of the time. Maybe once they turn 13 or something, then all the 13-year-olds or so get put into the real world, or, like, put into the Matrix world all together, or, like, when they get older, like 18 or whatever. And so it seems like, hey, we're all the same age, but there's no reproducing going on, there's no babies or anything, because did they ever show a baby or anything in the Matrix?
No.
Did they ever show an old person?
No, it's like people always say the same age.
No, the homeless guy at the end was an old guy.
Like an older guy?
Mhm.
But see, he wasn't out in the open, so maybe, like, just like the Oracle, the Oracle was an older lady, and she had kids, but seemed like she had never left her apartment.
Well, she's technically a computer program. She's not real.
Yeah. When did it say that in the first one?
I think so. I know they talk about
how she's a computer program that tells you your fate, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they created actually 2 computer programs. Well, later on you'll figure that out. Matrix.
Like I never watched. I haven't refreshed my memory on the other ones, so I didn't go on to those.
I haven't seen the other ones.
I want to continue watching.
Oh, man. There. Once you watch the first one, it's like.
Well, also, like, we watched it, like, we probably all watched it as a kid, but we didn't think of it this deep, or like, what all goes on, because we're still young, we didn't have an idea of the actual.
It was cool because they shot a lot of guns and stuff.
Yeah, guns, violence, computer stuff, like, stuff that our generation grew up in, and then we're actually getting to college, and we actually talk about this. What is the idea behind it? Yeah, exactly, like.
You should be confused.
So do you guys feel like Neo had a choice, or was he kind of pushed into it by fate?
I think a little bit of both, because without the Oracle telling him that actually he wasn't the one and explaining that, oh yeah, there's a choice you have to make. He had the chance of making that choice, but he only had 2 choices. The fate would lead up to the fact that he has to make that choice, but he still has a chance to make that choice.
But if he is the one, if he's so-called considered the one, then it is kind of by fate. I see what you're saying, but if Morpheus says he's the one, and he's like, okay, I'm the one, then he really doesn't have a choice. He is the one.
Yeah, but he wasn't the one until he died and came back. Until he believed himself he was the one. Before he went to the Oracle, and just after the Oracle, he didn't truly believe. He just knew what Morpheus believed. Morpheus believed he was the one. So he, just like, okay, if he believes I'm the one, then maybe I'm the one. But after he met the Oracle and made that choice, decided to make that choice himself, he truly became the one. If he just went with fate and let fate guide him, like, oh yeah, I'm the one, then Morpheus can die, he would never become the one.
Right.
So it was technically his choice. By sacrificing himself, he truly became the one, is what I believe.
So he had the free will of making his own choice within the Matrix.
Yes.
And the part where didn't Trinity tell Neo what Morpheus was told, like, about, or was it the Oracle that said that Morpheus was the one that would find the one?
Yep, it was. I think might have been Morpheus that actually told them.
And was that later in the movie, or?
I don't remember exactly when it was in the movie, but I remember what you're saying, that somebody told him that Morpheus would one day find the one.
Told Neo?
Yeah, somebody told Neo that.
Morpheus did.
Yep.
Was it Morpheus?
Yeah. Okay. He said when he went to the Oracle, he was told that he'd find the one day.
And he's not sure, like, he probably found people before him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they
how many
weren't.
times do you think he was let down? Like,
Yeah, like,
must be the one. Never mind, he died.
because he has faith, and then he was mentioned about the names earlier when we were talking before Braden got here. And, the names, Neo, the anagram for one, N-E-O-O-N-E, the same letters. And then you said something about Anderson, or?
Yeah. His first name Thomas and his last name Anderson. Thomas means the twin, and Anderson means son of man. So technically, he has 2 halves, 2 twins. His real life, or his the Matrix life of Thomas Anderson, and then his other twin Neo, his real life self. And then and then Anderson, son of man, would kind of represent that he's a parallel to Christ, because he's part Matrix, or part code, basic code, and part man, where God is, or where the code could technically be God inside the Matrix.
He's like the God within the Matrix.
Mm-hmm. He's Jesus within the Matrix.
He's Jesus Matrix.
Yep.
And then when he dies, he rises again.
Yeah.
Just like Jesus did.
It's really biblical. Like, you cover all the bases and everything like that. It's like, wow, there's a lot like hidden deeper meanings that even like we're missing right now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
More meanings that.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of meaning to that. Like, weren't you reading earlier that that each person represents a different Israelite or something?
Yeah, like how agents would have been like the demons and things like that, and what's the name?
Tank and Dozer.
Tank and Dozer would have been
Palestinians or Israelites.
something like
I think
that.
it was Israel.
But the other guy,
Morpheus.
no, not Morpheus. Creo.
Cypher.
Cypher. He was like the betrayer, like Judas. Because I mean,
Yeah.
he betrayed him in the end. He betrayed
Yeah.
him.
So with that, is there an importance in the names that they chose?
Oh yeah. Within the name of Morpheus itself, Morpheus is the Greek god of dreams, where he has the power to manipulate and control people's dreams. So, do you really think that they're coming out of the Matrix, or is it just
Right.
Morpheus?
And then I have here within the movie, I wrote down the quote from Morpheus: "The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world."
Mhm.
So I mean,
Or maybe
it makes sense.
Well, you gotta think though. Maybe Morpheus wants people to think that it's actually a dream, and maybe the Matrix is the real. And then once they take the pill, that is the actual dream, and the Matrix is still real.
The Matrix becomes real life, and the other one's
The dream.
Or the
Like, that's
Matrix was always real life.
Until Morpheus shows up, then it's like, wait, there's an option other than this?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if you take that pill and you fall asleep within the Matrix, and then you just dream of being free in the outside world, like Zion of hope. Because then you give that person hope.
Yeah, apply that to like a situation like now. Are we in a dream right now, or are we alive? Are we a computer-generated thing that we don't even know we're computer-generated?
There's no Morpheus to tell them.
Exactly.
And Neo and the thing was looking for this person, the Matrix, and he was looking for Morpheus. So maybe Morpheus is actually the control of the computers and preventing anyone from figuring out what it actually is.
So the fact that Morpheus finds Neo, is that coincidence or fate? Because Neo was technically looking for him as well. So is that a coincidence or is that fate?
I think that might apply towards more of fate. Like, after a while, he had the choice. Of course, he had fate leading up to that choice. He had fate of, he felt like he needed to search for somebody. That might have been fate leading up to the choice. Because you gotta kind of have a balance. Everything balances itself out there. Without fate, there can be no choice, and without choice, there can be no idea of fate.
He also made that choice to follow the white rabbit on his computer when it came up. Follow the right rabbit, and then the girl turns her shoulder. You probably wouldn't have noticed that if she turned her shoulder.
So,
is that fate, or like?
I think it was part fate with sending him the message, and then part choice of him taking the leap of going into following the rabbit.
Leap of faith, basically.
Yep.
He didn't know what
was going
he
to
just
happen.
listened to his computer that started talking, and now he's following this white rabbit that's tattooed on some girl's shoulder.
Mm-hmm. And then when they go to the club, what song did you say was playing?
The Rob Zombie's Die, I Am the One.
Yep.
So it's representing that he is the one right there, and then they're showing them that he is the one. It's kind of hard to. I never picked that up. I read about that one.
Yeah, and then when I can't remember exactly what part of the movie, but Neo had just woken up, and he looks at Morpheus. He says, "There's no going back now, is there?" I think is the quote, and then Morpheus responds with, "If you could, would you really want to?" It's like, you've been shown this new world. Do you really want to see what? Do you want to try and forget it now? You know what it's all about. It's like the cave, where like you've already seen the world. Now everybody thinks you're nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
go back in, yep.
That's exactly right. It's a direct comparison right there to how.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, he goes back into the real world and tries to tell people, oh yeah, there's this whole other dream world. It's called the Matrix and all stuff. People
Nobody believes them.
Stupid. Like, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta remember, is people in Zion do know about the Matrix and everything, because they're either from the Matrix or they're generations after
They don't.
the last person.
Yeah.
Because they're the survivors of it, so they know of what it is, but they don't know what's actually in there.
Right.
Unless they've been taken out and actually know what it was like in there.
Morpheus, Trinity, and that they've been. Some of them most of them have been taken out of that because they've got holes in their body or whatever. Yeah. And if you're pure human, whoever, what one was it?
Tank and
Dozer.
Brother.
Yeah, they're both actual humans. They didn't have stuff in their necks because they're probably second generation or longer.
Probably more. Yeah.
Or
Something like
they're
that.
survivors of the war when they blacked out the sun and everything.
I don't think there's any survivors after the war.
Well, there had to be, didn't they? Because then how did the first people to get out of the Matrix?
The one that came before Neo. There was one that came before Neo that took him all out.
Oh, okay.
And Morpheus says that when they first talked to Neo.
But then you got to think about, how did the first person get out without the choice of the pill, or did the agent give him that choice to give him the chance to free everybody else?
It's true.
Yeah. How did the first person get out? Unless they're survivors of the war.
I think
go back in.
Being the one, he was able to come out by himself. He didn't need an outside help getting out.
But then didn't Neo need it?
Neo needed it because he truly wasn't the one until he died.
And then he believed it?
Yeah, until he truly believed that he was the one.
Yeah, because Trinity was told when she went to the Oracle she'd fall in love with the one.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, you have to be the one because I love you. And
Rose
became the one.
The thing is, though, once he got shot in the Matrix, would it switch back to Trinity talking to him, like his body? He wasn't bleeding at all. Because usually when she got shot, you would instantly start bleeding or whatever. But he didn't start bleeding at all. He felt the pain of it, but he didn't like his
bleed out.
His real body.
Well, his real body wouldn't bleed. Truly, it'd bleed internally because his internal body, but he can't. The body can't puncture holes in itself to make it look like he's bleeding.
Well, when they would die, they would bleed out the mouth.
Yeah,
they always did. So Neo would have started to bleed out his mouth.
Yeah, but
that's true.
He just sat there motionless. Like,
when people are killed in the Matrix, Morpheus had said, "Body cannot live without the mind." So if you believe that you're not going to die, then you can't die.
Yeah. So I don't understand why can't anybody else be able to become the one?
Because if you think of it as a real life circumstance, we've been given this belief that when you get shot, you die. Mm-hmm. You don't survive a gunshot. You don't survive these things. So when you get shot in the Matrix, you believe that that's what's going to happen. You're going to die. Mm-hmm. So and then he just realized, look, I can't die. I'm the one. I'm the guy.
But if Morpheus he truly believed that he was the one also, he could probably survive too. But why doesn't he?
Or maybe it's because Neo was actually a coder for programming, and maybe he could read the code and find a loophole in it. Because he can actually read the coding. You know how when he dies and comes back, the walls turn to code and everything?
Yeah.
So maybe he could read that and understand, like when he looked at the code with whoever else. Cypher, yeah. When Cypher was just sitting there looking at the code, maybe Neo could actually read it.
Well, I think...
And they couldn't, because
they all can. I guess they
can all read it. Because at one point he says, so you read this code? And he goes, I don't even see codes. Cypher said, I don't see codes. All I see is brown hair, blue eyes, white person. Like, it was...
Maybe just because he just started thinking about what could this code mean, and just starts, because it's his time alone. He was alone with nobody else. He's thinking pretty girls, something like.
It's true.
Because he was drinking as well,
mm-hmm.
And so he's like, maybe he couldn't actually read it. And you just kind of trying to think of what it could actually mean, like girls, whatever. And then since Neo was a programmer, he could actually read the inner linings of the code and find something wrong with it, or
then on that point too, he was able to see the code inside the Matrix,
mm-hmm.
rather than everybody else seeing
outside in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he created discs for the people that came to his apartment. Mm-hmm. He created discs for him, whatever those discs were for.
Yeah.
And so maybe he could
get caught. I wouldn't do this or whatever he said.
Yeah.
Something significant I read about the book he put him in. I don't remember what the name of the book was, but there's something significant. It was like a philosopher. It's a philosophical book, I think. And I don't remember what it was though.
What you got next?
What do you guys believe is the ethics on killing an agent? Such as when you kill an agent, you're killing a real person. However, within the Matrix, you're going to be killing the agent, which is good within the Matrix, but terrible in the real world.
You'll still never kill the agent either, even if you shoot.
Exactly.
So you're just killing a real person
to get rid of the agent for the time being.
Mm-hmm. Well, kind of like the saying, "Kill or be killed."
Yeah.
It's either he's going to die himself from the agent killing him, or he's got to kill somebody else to survive a little bit longer.
The person's helpless, though.
Yeah, but he has a lot of other people who like work with like the police agents. They're always attacking him to kill him, try to kill him. So he has to survive to them. Like Morpheus said when he was telling when they're in the walk and they saw the red lady, he said the system is your enemy. And the people are part of that system, and they'll fight to protect it.
Because they all gave him the weird looks because he was walking against the traffic. He was hitting shoulders, people getting mad at him. And then that's what the agent can feel. Like, oh, something's wrong. Yeah. Like when the homeless man saw them teleport to the phone, he's like, and then boom, the agent could feel it, teleport there, shoot the phone, and then Neo was stuck.
Well, yeah, and then when Neo's first being shown the Matrix, he goes, see that woman in the red dress? He goes, yeah. He goes, look again. There's an agent standing there with a gun.
Mm-hmm. Don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody can be your enemy because they'll fight to believe it. They'll fight to keep that truth because that's all they know.
Just like the cave.
Yep.
He walks back in to tell them what's the actual thing. And they all just sit there and laugh at him, saying it's not true because they don't have any idea of what's
what's outside the cave.
They just see the shadows. Yep. And they didn't talk to anybody else or whatever. So
there's themselves. There's 4 dudes.
And they're looking at shadows on the wall.
Yeah.
Being told that that's the real life and that's what these things are. Oh, this one has a long neck. What's that?
It's this.
They make their own name for it without knowing the actual.
Without knowing what we would call it, they call it something different because they haven't shown it.
Basically, 2 separate worlds there.
Yeah.
There was the world they were stuck in, which was shadows. Then there was the world outside the cave, which was actual.
Well, in Cypher's point of view of the cave, would you want to go back into the cave and be locked up again if the world inside the cave is better than the world outside the cave?
Like, you can taste the steak.
Yeah.
Like when you was talking with the agent about the steak and everything, he's like, I don't know actually how this tastes. But then he puts it in his mouth like, but it tastes good. Because he's never actually tasted actual steak because they have to eat that slop or whatever.
Yep. The world outside of the Matrix is worse than it being inside the Matrix. So would it be better to be naive or in free? Maybe better to be naive or free.
And because Cypher wanted to go back into the Matrix because he wanted to live there because he liked it. He tasted steak, tasted the richness of life, like something the computers know, but the generations that are out of it, like out of the Matrix, all they taste that slop, disgusting taste.
He knew the steak wasn't real, but he still thought it would taste good.
And inside the Matrix, I mean, you could be anybody you want to be. It's like a dream, it's a dream world, as they say, but that's the best way to describe it. I mean, you can jump off a building, hit the road, and it bends down to break or fall. I mean, you don't die.
Yeah, you
make your own reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, your own reality.
Kind of like GTA.
Yeah.
It's you make your own choices. Like, granted, it affects you when you get chased by the cops or not, or you kill the cops and then no one's there. You gotta make the choice. Do you actually play the game without killing anybody? Stop lights, stop signs.
Nobody stops at the stop. I don't know. Those cars don't go slow enough to actually want to stop. Trust me.
My dad's done that. He was bored one day. He took the controller and just drove normally. Just felt calm.
I've done it, but it's literally impossible to drive that good.
Yeah.
I don't care what I've tried that too also. And it's like no matter what you do, you're always like, oh yeah, cops next to you. Oh yeah, turn on the sirens.
Or the fact that you're playing online, cops chasing another guy because he's killed 3 other cops. You nick his car, boom, cops are after you instead.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that you make your own choices in those games, just like you make your own choices in the Matrix. It's kind of like the same. Will you go out and kill people just because you want to, and then get chased by the cops and killed by the agents and whatnot? It's just something to protect the system because the system seems so perfect. Like didn't seem to be much killing.
But
the only action the police had was the people coming in the Matrix from other things.
We're trying to get out.
Or trying to get out.
But the Agent Smith said at the end that there's actually a Matrix before the Matrix that they had now that was actually more of a dream because everything was perfect. At the perfect world, but nobody accepted that because it was too perfect. So it had to have been bad. In the
maybe the old Matrix, people that are in Zion, like the Black City, maybe they're the remains of that newer, like the old Matrix, and so they use them to go into the Matrix, or like invade the Matrix to make it feel less perfect. Because then there's crime, people dying, people being taken. Like since Neo, he was just taken out of the blue. Like he didn't really have a social life. He almost got fired from his job and everything.
But was he taken out of the blue? I mean, he was looking for Morpheus. He was. They didn't just go on the street and say, "We want you. You're the one." They did their research. They knew who was going to be the guy. Like Neo's looking for them. They're looking for Neo.
Except Neo didn't know he was looking for
who he was looking for or what he was looking for.
He
was looking for something in that regard. So in reality, did they pick him out of the blue, or I mean, then again, it comes back to fate. Was it fate that they picked him?
And also, the thing I was watching a YouTube video on like things wrong, everything that's wrong with the Matrix in 17 minutes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a funny video. It's like there's one thing is like, would the agents actually have gone after Neo, or what sparked the agents' move to pick up Neo at his office?
Because they traced back from they figured out who Trinity at the beginning was looking for, which was Neo. They figured that out, and then they went after Neo to try to get
send the
Trinity.
message follow the White Rabbit
I think
on that computer.
I don't think Trinity.
Was that the time that that wasn't when the message was sent, was it? About following the White Rabbit?
It might have been about the same time.
Because
didn't that start the movie? Trinity running from them?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it kind of went on with Neo's life and gave that CD to them, and then he went back to sleep. So I guess it wasn't really that time.
Because like the thing is though, how did the agents know to pick up Neo?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because what sparked them?
Well,
because the phone just came to him, and then boom, he was told that agents were on their way to pick him up. How did the agents know to go pick up Neo? What were they on their way for?
They were looking for Neo because Trinity was looking for him.
Did it how did they know? Like, was it on the computer that Trinity was using?
Yeah, I think so. They ran a trace or something.
Oh, okay.
They ran some kind of trace.
The neural trace or whatever, the neuron signals from the brain or whatever.
Maybe something like that. They did a trace to figure it out, but it's a plot hole. I can see where you're looking at it. It's kind of a plot hole.
And then the only way he got out was the cell phone. And it's like, some things is like, Morpheus, he could tell him which way to go, but how?
Was Neo, but here's another question. Morpheus is able to tell him where to go. Now, is he in the Matrix at that point? Is Morpheus looking at the coding?
I think he's looking at the coding.
So he is in the Matrix at that point?
No, he was looking at the coding from outside.
No, not Morpheus. I mean, Neo would be in the Matrix at that point.
Neo was still in the Matrix. When he was in the office building, he hadn't been taken out yet. He hadn't been given the pill.
Okay. So the pills basically get you to believe in the Matrix, or what's that?
The pill is used to sever your connection, I think, to the Matrix, and that's why it pops out in that pod of the red goo. And then it also helps the people in the ship track him, so they can pick up his body once it's dropped, because how it dropped down into, or slid down the slide or whatever, to go to the waist or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then the mirror that he pokes at reminds me of the mirror Sophie stole from the cabin in the Mage's cabin. Yep. So she could be in the Matrix right now.
Or maybe she's Trinity now.
I mean, she could be in the Matrix right now. Sophie is in the Matrix. That's what's going on in the book.
That's our conclusion.
Sophie is in the Matrix. That's it.
Searching for agents.
Yep. And what's his name? The philosopher is Morpheus.
Just giving her everything she needs to know to figure out
how to get out. Yep. The truth.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's actually
spot
that makes
on.
sense.
I mean, it does.
And then her mother doesn't believe it. She thinks he's crazy.
Yeah.
And so it's that's the Matrix fighting back.
That's the cave, really. Honestly, that's the cave, because Sophie's saying, "Hey, look, this is what it is." Nah, come on.
Yeah.
You're talking. Are you doing drugs right now? Are you doing drugs?
Exactly. And she's like, "No, this is a real thing." And they're so covered in truth and their reality that they can't see what Sophie's seeing.
That it's the Matrix.
Yep.
All over again.
Mm-hmm. Must be Neo's kid.
No, I think
Neo's Trinity.
Neo's daughter.
Yes, Neo and Trinity's daughter.
Yes.
Do they have a daughter?
No.
Well, yeah, Sophie.
Except for I think this was made in 1980.
And then the movie came out after the book.
Yeah, the Matrix stole it from this.
Matrix is just the prequel to this book.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's like the Fast and Furious movies. The one that ends the series came out before all the other ones. Basically.
Oh, yep.
Okay, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So connecting this to a real life situation with Columbine, who would be responsible for that? Like, I mean, we were talking a little bit earlier about how the trench coats and stuff, it's done the same way. Like, do they get their ideas from the Matrix, or is it just coincidence that it happened to be the same way of the Matrix?
I think that's social media is what that is. I mean, think of something you see every day, advertisements, everything like that. I mean, whether you want to believe it or not, you see things that you don't physically think about, but your brain processes. Like, I've seen studies before where there was two gentlemen sitting at a table conversing with each other, and the guy's telling him, pick out a random card with, and he's got, like, let's say butterflies, polka dots, and dice on another. And in the background, there's a car with polka dots painted on it. In the background, this guy, he's talking with this guy, but a car drives by with polka dots painted on it. And he's like, I don't know, the polka dots. And he does this with a bunch of different tests. And just because what you're looking at the moment doesn't mean that your brain isn't getting outside information from, and you don't even know
influence. Like, I don't know what movie it was in, or what movie or TV series. They had diamonds. There were 3 different colors, and there's 2 real ones and 2 fake ones. And he wanted the person that he was trying to sell these diamonds to pick up the 2 real ones to look at and inspect. Well, so he wore, like, the blue one was real, so he wore, like, a blue tie, red shirt, and
it's on the tip of my mind. I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
I think it might be white collar.
Maybe. Oh yeah, I think it is. And he's trying to sell him the diamonds, like the real ones, so then they can get him in jail or whatever. And so he wore a blue tie, red shirt. So the guy would think, okay, I'll pick up this one because the blue influenced him.
He didn't know it. He didn't, but it did.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how you can connect.
Same thing with like how magicians or illusionists work. I remember there was this guy on campus who came and he goes, "Okay, I want you guys to pick a car for me or something." And so somebody picks the car, and then he goes, "Well, what color would this car be?" He picks somebody else randomly, and they say red. He goes through and picks all these different things. And here, pick a card. And I think it was the 7 of diamonds or whatnot. Anyway, the trick goes on to him. He's like, "I want to share something with you. This will be on TV later on in the year." He says, he puts in the show, and we were watching his MTV Cribs.
I've seen that one.
So he went in and he's showing us the MTV Cribs. He's like, "Yeah, and I'll show you my vehicles now." And it was the red car that somebody had said, and then the 7 of diamonds was sitting on the table. He's like, "My favorite card," and throws it on the table with the 7 of diamonds.
Yep.
But you go back and you think about that again, and what was influenced by that? Yeah. Something throughout his show influenced people to think, say red, to say that car.
Our brains picked up on that. We didn't physically think, I'm going to remember that later in the show, but your brains, it's constantly storing.
In that, though, did he have people yell colors, or did he pick a certain person to pick a color?
No,
he said something about a water bottle, like, what are you drinking right now? He's like, I guess he pointed at a guy that asked him what he was drinking right now.
Yeah, and then there was this one too. It was a different guy, but he had out name tags. He said he picked one around. And he says, so say he picked me. He goes, "Brady Goldig, what did you pick? What do you say?" And then so just on the spot you go red.
That's one of the 3 primary colors as well. So
yeah,
maybe.
That's just what happened. And then there's I think that guy, the actual guy that did the name tags, he had said, "Pick your color," and somebody goes yellow. He goes, "Well, light or dark?" What kind of question is that one? They're like, light. And then the car was like a Lamborghini or something like that. And he's like, "On the plane here, I wrote such and such thing, and I put it in my pocket, folded it up in this envelope," and takes out the envelope and goes, "Here, you open this and tell me what it says." And it said everything that the people had said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like exactly what you're saying with influence and changing the brain and stuff. So, I mean, adding on to that, like, are we saying that social media is responsible for the Columbine shooting, or are these people just nuts and changed it to be like the Matrix?
That's where
your own perception kind of goes into it.
Because the people there actually know the exact thing, but everybody else in the country's like, "Oh, mass shooting, these people went crazy," or whatever. Like, what sparked their craziness? Was it just stress and they just cracked, or is it like something happened the day before at school or weeks before, just kind of big built up? And
in the Columbine shooting. It was, I mean,
Or maybe the students didn't actually go to the school, and the media just said, "Oh yeah, they attended the school."
well, there's tons of new things. I mean, I see things on Facebook every day about how, like, there was a Newtown, Connecticut shooting. The FBI, there's things on Facebook that say no one was actually killed in the Newtown, Connecticut shooting. There's all sorts of theories and things like that. I mean, if you look up on it, it's actually kind of weird. You can, I don't remember. There's someone in the Columbine shooting, the Newtown, Connecticut shooting, the Colorado shooting in the movie theater, and there's surveillance with that same person at each one of those shootings.
Coincidence?
Coincidence, or is there?
Or is it a matrix that we're living in?
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
just coming up with the same randomness, just regenerating itself, regurgitating itself.
Yeah, I mean, you could very easily be living in the Matrix right now and we not know it.
We could be living in the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Us two could be actors, and you're Truman.
Mm-hmm. Never seen the
Truman Show? You?
I've seen bits and pieces.
Basically, what that is it's like, say I was Truman. It's like my life, but everybody else in the world is an actor.
Like everyone that you connect with is an actor.
Everybody in the world is an actor, and there's video cameras, and they make a TV show about it. So everybody in your world is an actor, and then there's people in the real world that sit back and watch your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then so what they do is they try to create love for you, but you can't truly love the person because then emotions get involved. So they can't stop you from being in love, and then he ends up loving this girl, and he tries to recreate her. He doesn't know where she is. Like love at first sight for him. And he starts cutting out pictures from magazines to try to find this love. And then he finds her. And he goes nuts trying to find her, and then all these actors are trying to stop him. Like he knows where she is, so he drives to get her. All of a sudden his dad hits him with his car. Hits his car with his car, kind of thing. Like causes a car accident so he can't get to him. Get to her, I mean. So, and then nearing the end of the show, he starts to figure out what's going on, and so he starts to play into it. And then I remember one scene in the movie is like, to get advertisement in there, his wife in the movie, I think it is, she's like, for my cutting, I like to use the 9000, and she's looking right at the camera. She starts cutting, like, they throw little advertisements in there without having commercials. On the show. I mean, it's.
Is this a movie or
it's a movie? It's called The Truman Show.
Okay.
It's Jim Carrey's the actor.
Jim Carrey's.
Oh,
it's
no wonder
one of the best movies.
No wonder it's a fun comedy. It can be a comedy.
It's pretty good. Like you guys would like it. It's just like The Matrix. I mean, nobody knows what the world's really like. Or I guess Truman doesn't know what it's like. Everybody else does, but
he's the only.
He's like the only one in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Everyone else is the agents trying to prevent him
from doing what he wants to do. It's like they're trying to manipulate him. They're like producers trying to make the show how they want it.
It's like the Hunger Games too. Then they throw in outside factors to help this person, or don't, just to help their ratings and stuff like that.
Yeah, and building onto these type of shows like The Matrix, for instance, is The Matrix a utopia or a dystopia?
I would want to go with utopia almost. It's almost a perfect society within there.
Is it a utopia if people are getting killed, though?
Well, who's getting killed, though, besides the people that are the police? Or
Yeah.
do the agents take over? Because then, can't the agents wipe the memory of those people? Or
they die if you shoot them.
Well, no. I mean, the people around them. Like, if a car crash happens, or like if the agent comes out in the middle of the road chasing Neo, do they actually pay attention to that? Or do they just keep going on with the normal day of life? Because let's say if Neo would... all their fights or whatever, didn't those happen in like abandoned building where there's no other people there? Like the subway? There's no one in the subway.
That's true. There's nobody. Usually those subways are packed.
Yeah. You think if it's a big city, during rush hour in everyday life.
So I guess they are kind of protecting people from
seeing the fights.
In the fight. And yet again, why would they have their own food source, their own life source, be killed by just random shootings? So people aren't going to die inside the Matrix, but they are going to give them bullets to be able to kill like Neo and stuff. So everybody else who gets killed doesn't actually die. They just kind of, until they get too old to be able to withstand their life. Right. But would they have anybody, like a random robbery of, like within the Matrix, would that actually happen, of being able to kill somebody? Or that person that they tried to kill just kind of wake up from a dream in another place?
And then now they think, are the police actually maybe programmed as well, but just not as well programmed as the agents? And so the agents can hop to their bodies at will, and then if they die, it's no big issue. They don't lose their food source, they don't lose their power source from that person dying.
That's another good point.
Because, they don't actually show a police person gets shot, they don't show anything that results from that, they just show the body on the ground. And then maybe just be the programming of the Matrix saying, that guy's dead. But you don't know if it's an actual real person or not. I mean, the blood.
Maybe it's just a computer program.
Yeah, it's all like the blood with him being shot and everything that comes out of him or whatever. Computer program, just like the whole Matrix is.
Yeah.
Feel, touching, everything.
And what's stopping us from saying Neo's a computer program?
Beezy's. Yeah.
Well, he is.
Because maybe it's the Matrix is like the second dream in Inception. The dream within the dream of the Zion world, or like the Zion world,
the Kingdom of God, Zion. That's another name for it.
The Morpheus, like maybe Morpheus's area, like where the real world that he thinks is the real world, is actually the first dream. And then there's a dream beyond that we're not shown. People controlling the Matrix in the real world, and then like the Matrix in Zion, like the leftover people. And then there's the Matrix, which is like the third dream within the dream.
Or, yet again, they probably have trillions of people, way more than they actually can fit into one city. Do you think there's more than one Matrix out there?
It's like more than one universe.
A different Matrix out there just to set up in different places so that they never run out of storage space in one place.
Like that town, is it only one town, or how big is the town actually? Like the city actually is? Mm-hmm. Is it just going to be that one cluster, and then can people travel between matrices by like traveling through different cities, or is it all just one city and then it's just duplicated multiple times?
Or is it one world kind of thing?
I guess another way of kind of looking at it would be like, is it similar to, say, the Truman Show or even the Hunger Games, where there's people watching and betting on what might happen next within the Matrix?
Yeah, like, is the Matrix a Hunger Game episode?
Like, are people betting saying, no, you know what? I don't think Neo is the one. I'm gonna bet against those odds. Or
because later on in the show, you actually see that, or in the series, you actually see that there's more than one Neo. There's hundreds of Neos.
There you go. So, that could be like, think of it, if there is more than one Neo, you think of it as a horse race. Which one's better? Which one's done better things? Or, people could be betting on it. Or it could be like the Truman Show, where they're just simply watching what happens.
For entertainment. That's a good point. Is there actually humans that actually control the Matrix that they're using the Matrix as entertainment and power source?
Yeah, there's another movie I watched. I'm not certain on the name of it, but basically what it was is the rich and elite of the world would get together and find people that weren't afraid to kill, or like murderers, and basically call them assassins. And they would go into this complex. It was basically the Hunger Games, but it wasn't at the same time, because it wasn't a big story behind it. It was just kind of like, you throw 12 people in there, and then the elites would bet on who would come out last. One's a priest, one's just your average Joe, one's a bum on the road, one's a high up businesswoman, and all this stuff. And then they're in there trying to find weapons. It was kind of like Death Race, but they weren't prisoners.
Yeah,
they were just randoms from the street, but they knew that they weren't afraid to kill. Like, one guy was found because I think something happened to his family. He just got up and just beat the shit out of the guy till he was dead, just for fun, basically to get back at him for hitting his car, kind of thing. And so that's how they found him, and they put him in there, and then they bet on it, who's going to come out on top, and they give him the odds on who's the better one, and the winner has to keep going in. It's like kind of like King's Court, so to speak. Like, what if the Matrix is like that?
I've never thought of it that way. So
there's also a movie that I saw that's called, I think it's called Game Over, where like there's people out in the real world that control convicts that fight for their freedom over the internet.
I've heard of that.
I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure.
Yeah, with Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
I've seen that one. It's like a video game.
Yeah, it's like a giant video game, kind of like the Matrix. The people control them to kill others.
Yeah.
And it's real way of maybe the Matrix and this game are kind of related in the sense that maybe it's a way to control population. Make people think they have lives while giving the other ones that need to survive the power and stuff.
It's true. Like like Agent Smith said at the end, or they say it during it, that the whole Matrix, all it is about is control.
Mm-hmm.
All it is, it's a system that allows them to control. So it could be like you're saying that these people are using them as a control for the power supply for the real high ups, for the actually real people that are on there, humans that are
the
out.
Sentinels are just the ways of preventing people destroying the Matrix,
And
so they
realizing
can leave, and so they can still live with that power of all the humans that they give. Because I mean, no one actually they don't go to the top of the world, do
no,
they?
they think it's a wasteland. Apparently, there's proof, but and as we see in the later series, that there is actually proof. They do go to the surface.
And is it just wastelands?
Yep.
Or?
It's
Yeah.
the wastelands, and they see the caretaker, the head guy that actually observes everything, and he talks to Neil about how Neil is actually truly not the first one. There's hundreds of ones before him, so he was kind of getting entertainment out of that more than anybody else. He was a computer programming, getting out of
Like the Hunger Games. Can you survive till the end to talk with the leader when they do the rounds of the countries or whatever? They always talk with the head guy, I don't know, the chairman or whatever of the game of Hunger Games. And it's like, he always thinking, should I kill them because they're giving these people hope? Because he wants to kill Katniss and the guy because they're giving the people hope that they could be free.
Yeah. And
then when this Mockingbird comes out or whatever, they pretty much get that freedom because they take them from the Hunger Games with all the others and all the old winners came back, and they don't want to do this anymore. They want help. They just want to live, and they want to help other people live.
So do you guys have any final thoughts on the Matrix or what was said or anything like that?
Not that I can think of.
I think we could technically take this and you could keep making it go deeper and deeper and deeper back in the Matrix and branch
Deeper
out
into the
everywhere.
mind, the dream.
Oh, there's one thing I forgot to touch on, like the cat. When he saw the glitch in the system, the
Deja vu.
The deja vu, yeah.
Had he not said anything,
They all would have died, and the Oracle would have been wrong.
Yeah.
Him saying, "Oh, what was that?" or like deja vu. They know what it means because they know it,
But he didn't.
but he didn't.
I would say that's almost fate. That wouldn't be coincidence because it's fate that he had to see it in order for what the Oracle has seen, which she prophesized, would come true.
One would die. One or the other
He
would
would
die.
have to choose.
Yeah, not. They all go in that room. They all die because didn't they only send one guy up in the room to prep it, and then he died because everything was covered in brick walls or whatever.
yeah, they blocked all the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they couldn't
Mouse.
escape. The other thing was
The mouse. This little tiny guy with
Small-
two giant guns.
small part in the movie. Maybe that's why his name's
Oh yeah,
Mouse.
that could be it. And
Big role in the movie though at the same time.
He put something that's based in one of the. He did say something in there when he was talking about that. The light is your own or denying your own impulses is to deny being human beings, which is I've heard out of the book, which relates to one of the religions in the Hellenistic period. I can't remember which one it was. The one where they always go for their desires over anything else.
Right. I mean, I think the cat was the turning point in the movie. It's where Neo actually believed, like, shit, I'm kind of into this now.
Yeah. There's fate.
He's stuck there. He can't go
Yeah,
back.
he's like, oh,
He saved them and they saved him at the same
he's
time.
like, yeah, I can't abandon these people now.
He sacrificed his life for me. I gotta go save this guy.
Yep.
I'm pointless here. Morpheus is actually the one that they need rather than Neo.
Because if he's not the one, then
Then
Morpheus can still continue his search. And so he had to make that choice. And when he made it, he became the one. And
so it's
maybe
his
Morpheus will
choice.
find another one later.
I was going to say, so is there really just one, or is it just one for the time being until he...
If you guys ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, maybe he's the Avatar. There's always one.
Yeah,
Unless something happens.
until he dies and gets reincarnated, where like we were talking earlier that they're all cannibalism because they just dissolve the dead bodies that they find and put them into and feeding them into the young. So they could use that, and it could have They could have
used just the one's body instead of just to the one baby, and so he got all the knowledge. Or
it starts all over.
Yeah. Well, again, like another example that would be like you guys read The Giver.
Yep.
Same thing.
That's a good.
Like I mean, The Giver takes in everybody's bad thoughts, or I can't exactly remember what it is, but I mean he takes in everything, and then he's got to pass on the torch, kind of thing.
By giving them the memories.
Yeah, by giving the memories. And basically that's what they're doing with Neo. They're in search of another one at the same time they have Neo. Because as soon as Neo's gone, they got to find somebody.
Yep. So
it's not eternal life.
Or another group in a different matrix could be looking for another one.
There's only one for the time being, but there's several ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be one, and either this one dies and then the other one gets the idea. Like all the Oracle's children, they knew the world around them was different. Mm-hmm. They could bend stuff. Maybe one of them will become the future one. Because like, didn't she say like those are candidates or something?
Yep, those
are
the
other candidates. Mm-hmm. And so they knew about the world, how it bends and everything. Like this isn't actually a spoon; it's your thoughts of the spoon. Then you can bend it each way.
So don't bend the spoon, bend yourself.
Yeah, I mean that's like what we were talking about. I can't remember if it was in persuasion class or in the other class. Yeah, I think it was in both of them actually. Where what's real, thoughts or actual objects? Because this is
the thought of the chair. Right?
Yeah, yep, exactly.
The constructs and Plato's everything is an idea before it's actually real.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, this is a table now, but you take the legs off.
Then what is it?
It's just a slab of wood.
And that's just a piece of wood. Mm-hmm. But the thought of a table up here is still,
like when you give it a bunch of objects, I could create a table with that. I could create whatever with it. But then the idea is there, but the objects aren't actually there.
Yeah.
Like the idea will live on forever until everybody in the world forgets about it or something. Like, let's say I knew of a table. He knows of a table. You guys don't know what a table is. Mm-hmm. If we both die, the idea of what a table is, what we know as a table,
but it
isn't there anymore.
It could be created again because they could figure out, like, okay, we need something to sit on, but they might not call it a table.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is a blob. This is now a blob because it was discovered at one point in time, but now that we're here and no one's ever told us before, because we didn't know, we have our own way of talking.
Well, that's like when he was saying when he went to the airport, and he was like, sure you don't want to look in the book? The ideas are pretty powerful to the security.
Yep.
TSA. It's like, oh shit, I mean.
Yeah, that's like.
What book did he have? I don't know, like some philosophical book.
I've written down like all the books and videos he told us to read.
Yeah, like I think that's pretty funny. I mean, they're gonna search his bag for weapons and stuff, but it's like, what if that book, it says on the outside, Socrates is philosophical.
The Bibles have that little cutout part with alcohol or whatever. Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, maybe his book is all words saying on how to make a bomb or how to kill somebody on an airplane without.
Powerful weapon.
Oh yeah.
Like, she doesn't know that.
She just sees it as the book that it is on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Until she opens it and reads it, then it's, hey, this is actually the book, Sophie's World, instead of being something completely different. The cover doesn't make what's inside. Or if you guys just like the body doesn't make what the mind is.
Or if you guys have seen, I can't remember, the one with Morgan Freeman when they break out of jail. I can't think of the name of it now. It's just blank. Anyway, he cuts out the Bible so he can carve into the cement. And the guy's like, oh no, sir, you grabbed the wrong Bible, to the warden. And the warden actually had his Bible with his knife in it, or what the object he uses to cut himself out. And he said, good job, my boy. Here's your Bible back, Good job on reading the Bible. Here you go. And he actually had his knife the whole time, and then he gave it back to him. Because it was in his Bible. So, he just believed it was the Bible and not an object within the Bible.
It's just, don't judge things by what you see on the outside.
Right, exactly.
Like the body may show something different, but whatever's inside the body may be different, like the mind and spirit. It's going to be different, your body. And so, some people may act the same, but they look totally different.
Well, that just gets into the whole how you view people. Now this is getting into a completely different thing. And just from being in the military and things, I see a lot of people that look like they're just, they're absolutely mean, cold-blooded people. And that's just because they got tattoos up and down their arm. And like working in a gun shop, I see a lot of people that come in there just like, wow, you're different. And then you have to put that aside because I've met numerous people that are some of the scariest looking people, but they're the most nice people you'll ever meet just because they have tattoos and stuff. I mean,
I saw something like that on Facebook. This guy's all tattooed, biker stuff, and then turns out he's actually a doctor.
Yeah.
And people like, looks can be deceiving.
Oh yeah.
Until because he was out on I think he was at the Sturgis rally. Someone took a picture like, this guy is not actually mean, cruel. Even though he's got tattoos on him, but when you put him in a lab coat, he looks like a normal person.
Changes your perception just because he's wearing a coat.
Yeah.
Whereas you think he's smart and he's rich, apparently, all of a sudden.
Like you could dress up a homeless guy in a suit and have him walk around the city, and people may not think he's homeless anymore.
Yeah, just because of what he's wearing. And it's the same thing, military uniform. I mean, people
assume they're in the military, but they could be faking
it.
I
mean, the other way around, too. People are like, "Oh, you just must be no good person. You got tattoos all over and tattoos here and there." And then you put on a military uniform, it's like, "Oh, you're a good person." And the same thing. I mean, it's just
a tattoo. Yeah.
It's just things that people make choices with. I don't want to get a tattoo, mostly because when if I lose weight, a tattoo's going to deform, or if I gain weight, tattoo's going to look funny. And so I'm like, I'm tempted to get a tattoo, but it's like, how will people change the perception of me if I get that tattoo?
Like, I have a tattoo, but nobody knows I have a tattoo.
Because you wear clothes.
Nobody would expect me to have a tattoo. It's on my back.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. I've got 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's just,
like, you look at me and it's like, oh, he's just a normal guy. But
exactly.
Now if I have 3 tattoos down my arm, it's like, oh.
Yeah, but does that really change who you are?
Exactly.
It doesn't change who you are, it just changes people's perspective. Because if I could have gang signs right here, people might think I'm in a gang. That cannot be. I could just think, hey, that looked cool.
Yeah.
And put it on my body. It's
like exactly. A friend of mine, he like I knew him before. I used to work with him, and a few times he got a bunch of tattoos up and down his arm, but I never saw him any different because I knew him before he got the tattoos.
Yeah.
But looking at it now, if I didn't know him before,
you may not have made that connection of friendship or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We're pretty off topic here, so.
Oh yeah, we should probably.
So any closing notes? I mean, anything?
I think we covered pretty much all.
Yeah.
All that we realize at the moment, anyway.
Until tonight, when we go back to bed.
I should have thought of that. No.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, let's hit that hour mark, so I think we're pretty much done.
All right.
Ciao, guys.
Bye.
And Dr. Watts, I didn't think this was that bad.
Yeah.
Once we got it.
It was a lot easier than it actually thought of at first.
Once we got started, man.
It just flew.
All right.
Words started rising.
Bye.